Hi, welcome. Now I am going to discuss about the unit number 1, that is solid state of second PUC chemistry. From this chapter you will get totally 7 marks for the main exam, and in the question paper there will be 2 questions from this chapter, that is question number 11 which carries 2 marks and question number 27 which carries 5 marks. Totally 7 marks will be there in the annual exam question paper. Okay, let us discuss what do you mean by matter. As we already know in the first PUC chemistry, matter is anything which has mass and occupies space, and there are 3 states of matter: solid, liquid and gas. In solid, the particles are closely packed, but in case of liquid, the particles are loosely held, whereas in case of gas, the particles are free moving. Okay, this is the picture where you can distinguish between solid, liquid and gas. In case of solid, its nature is rigid in nature, and liquid and gases are not rigid in nature, and the solid is having fixed shape and fixed volume, that means both are fixed. But in case of liquid, only volume is fixed but not the shape, whereas in case of gas there is no fixed shape and fixed volume. Okay, solids are called rigid bodies because they do not have an ability to flow, and this rigidity of solids is due to the fixed positions of their particles. But liquids and gases are called fluids because they have some kind of ability to flow, and this fluid nature of liquids and gases is due to the free movement of their particles. Solids have definite mass, definite volume and definite shape, and this property is due to the following 3 reasons. In solids, particles are fixed at their positions, and in solids there will be short interparticle distances and also strong interactions between the particles. Hence, the solids have definite mass, definite volume and definite shape. Okay, let us know what are the factors that affect the fluid and rigid nature of matter. There are mainly 2 factors: the nature of the particles, that means particle may be an atom, ion or molecule, and the binding forces present between the particles. The forces may be covalent, ionic, metallic or hydrogen bonds. Okay, there are mainly 2 types of forces. One kind of forces are attractive in nature, other kind of forces are repulsive in nature. The attractive forces are intermolecular forces. Since they are attractive in nature, they keep the molecules or atoms or ions closer. Whereas in case of thermal energy, which is also called heat energy, is repulsive in nature. That means it keeps the molecules or atoms or ions apart. Okay, let us discuss general characteristics of solids. The solids have definite mass, definite volume and definite shape. The solids have short intermolecular distances. That means between the particles the distances are very short. That means they are very close to each other. The solids have strong intermolecular forces. Since the distances between particles are very short, the forces are very strong. The solids have the particles with fixed positions. the solids are incompressible. That means they can't be compressed by using pressure, or we can't decrease the volume of solid by applying pressure, and also the solids are rigid in nature. Okay, let us know how the solids have been classified based on the nature of order of arrangement of particles in them. There are mainly two types: amorphous solid and crystalline solid. Amorphous solid contains particles which are arranged in irregular pattern. They are randomly arranged or distributed. In case of crystalline solid, it contains the particles arranged in a regular pattern. They are uniformly distributed. Okay, now let us discuss the differences between amorphous solids and crystalline solids with respect to their properties. With respect to shape, amorphous solids are having irregular or indefinite shape, but crystalline solids are having regular or definite shape. With respect to melting point, amorphous solids do not have sharp melting point. That means they melt over a range of temperature, whereas in case of crystalline solids they have sharp melting point. That means they melt at particular temperature. With respect to isotropy, amorphous solids are isotropic in nature. In case of crystalline solids, they are anisotropic in nature. With respect to order of arrangement of particles, amorphous solids have short range order. That means particles are arranged over a short distance, whereas in case of crystalline solids there will be presence of long range order. That means particles are uniformly arranged or regularly arranged over a large distance. With respect to nature, amorphous solids are pseudo-solids or supercooled liquids, whereas crystalline solids are true solids. Examples of amorphous solids are glass, rubber and plastic. Examples of crystalline solids are NaCl and quartz. Okay, this is a picture where you can see the arrangement of particles in crystalline and amorphous. In crystalline, particles are regularly arranged, whereas in case of amorphous, the particles are randomly arranged or arranged in a irregular pattern. Okay, this is an example of, this is a picture where you can see the differences between crystalline and amorphous with example. Crystalline solid like marble, which is hard in nature, there is a regular arrangement of particles, whereas in case of chalk, which is soft in nature, an example of amorphous solid, here the particles are arranged in a irregular pattern. Amorphous solids are isotropic in nature, and this isotropic nature is due to the uniform arrangement of particles in all directions. Hence, the physical properties like mechanical strength, refractive index, and electrical conductivity, etc., are same in all directions. This is an example of amorphous solid, that is cotton candy, where you can see the particles are arranged in a irregular fashion. Crystalline solids are anisotropic in nature, and this anisotropic nature of crystalline solids is due to the different arrangement of particles in different directions. Hence, the physical properties of crystalline solids like mechanical strength, refractive index, and electrical conductivity, etc., are different in different directions. So this is a picture of example of table salt, that is crystalline solid, where particles are regularly arranged. Okay, let us know what do you mean by polycrystalline solids. These are the solids which look like amorphous but have microcrystalline structures are called polycrystalline solids. Example is amorphous silicon, which is a photovoltaic material. That means it converts light energy into electrical energy. So this is a picture where you can distinguish between amorphous crystalline and polycrystalline based on the nature of arrangement of particles. You can see in crystalline solid, particles are regularly arranged, but in case of amorphous, the particles are arranged irregularly. But in case of polycrystalline, it shows both. Even though it is amorphous, its arrangement is similar to crystalline solid. Okay, there will be one give reason question in the exam, that is, the glass objects from ancient civilizations are found to become milky in appearance. Give reason. Okay, the glass, as we all know, it is an amorphous solid, but after a long time, that means as the time passes and as the temperature increases, it starts flowing and gets converted into crystalline form. Hence, old glass objects appear milky in nature due to some kind of crystallization process. Thank you.